All right, so in this game we have a little bit of a difference in matchup in that in the last game Alpharad had to play around the trick room in a late game, whereas the trick room in this matchup should be coming up front. It's not that the team is one dimensional; it's just that it's its best option usually. So in this game you want to preserve your Dynamax, possibly to tank and attack, and then knock out an opposing Pokemon. Preventing the weakness policy from the Rhyperior is going to be extremely crucial. Um, One thing I will say is that Mew2King definitely probably learned some things in these next couple sets. And coming out from Zane's side is actually the Duraludon. Duraludon great in this matchup, being able to tank attacks from Dragapult and possibly redirect even. And Stalwart being able to ignore the redirection from Togekiss. I really like Zane's position here.
Zain has made an incredible lead here. I feel like you really couldn't ask for a better lead than what he did. Actually, this is what Mew2King has done. We see Bronzong Rhyperior in the back. It's actually something I feel like Shoma did, actually. Mew2King makes an amazing switch there, actually switching into Bronzong turn 1. I really like that play. No Dynamax from Zain. Let's see, Follow Me comes out. Flash Cannon comes out. Actually, Zain reads it. He reads the Dragapult, doesn't want to stay in there, and goes for a Flash Cannon. It's not going to get the KO, but he does activate the Babiri Berry. And what is up with Mew2King's Togekiss? It's so bulky. Takes like a third from that hit. And Yawn comes out. So, I mean, you can't feel too bad about that if you're Mew2King. Like, even though you got a special defense drop, you're in danger of losing your Togekiss this turn. You're not trying to win with your Togekiss here. You're trying to win with your Trick Room, it looks like. So hopefully Mew2King will realize that he can just go for Trick Room here and get his Rhyperior and try and sweep. But he's actually thinking about body press, it looks like. Fun fact for those in the chat, Ally Switch actually does not protect you against Duraludon's ability. So whoever Duraludon targets will still be hit. Togekiss actually switches out there. I guess because it doesn't want to fall asleep. I agree with that from Zain. Goes into everyone's favorite Pokemon. And Dynamax Dracozolt comes out. Or, Duraludon comes out. Justin, what do you think about this Dynamax turn 2?
I think that it's great for getting off some really potent damage from the Duraludon. It also will allow Zain to start boosting up the defenses of his Pokemon with possibly a max Steel Spike. He also has access to max Darkness, because we saw that in the last set, and this could possibly even knock out the Bronzong.
Wow. So I don't know if Colbur Berry. Interesting. So I don't know if Mew2King realizes that Duraludon's ability actually will redirect the hit, or maybe he was covering for a Yawn. That actually makes some sense as well. You really don't want to lose Togekiss and get Yawned on the same turn. So Max Darkness comes out. So if Bronzong goes for a Trick Room here, it could be in pretty good shape. But I think we actually did see a Body Press, which is not the best move to be using, although that's did a ton of damage. That's got to be a critical. No. Interesting. Well, it might be time to Dynamax your Bronzong, Mew2King. That's a ton of damage. I'm really surprised by that. What do you think, Justin?
I think that not getting Trick Room up is actually really going to hurt Mew2King.
I agree.
In this situation. There's definitely a turn where you wanted to try and take advantage of having access to Colbur Berry. The weakness policy proccing means that Duraludon is now the most massive threat in this entire game. And Togekiss not getting a Yawn off either into the Duraludon means that he can just go down. And, I don't know that he got enough turns out of the initial setup. That's the thing with this team, is you kind of have to get your Trick Room set up and get your Pokemon in that are going to sweep. Zain is in literally perfect position. He can knock out both Togekiss and Bronzong this turn.
He goes for Steel Spike into the Togekiss, picking up a defense boost. I like that a lot on the one condition that Bolt Beak hits. If Bolt Beak hits, you're in great shape. Obviously, Duraludon outsped and could KO either Pokemon. And I like the defense boost as well, I really do. But now comes the interesting part. Is Bolt Beak with its 80% accuracy going to hit? Because it actually does connect. Dracozolt actually picks up the KO on Bronzong. That's definitely going to KO. It actually OHKOs from full HP, which is a little bit ridiculous. It's 4-2, and you got to be feeling pretty good if you're Zain.
Yeah, excellent play there from Zain. I think the straightforward play was maybe going the other way around.
I agree.
Beaking the Togekiss, but what's really smart about the way that he did that is he kind of ensured that even if he missed the Bolt Beak on the Bronzong, he was getting the Steel Spike boost to possibly prevent Rhyperior from doing too much damage on the Trick Room.
Exactly.
So I think that was actually kind of the foresight there. No Trick Room being up means that either the Torkoal or the Dragapult will take a lot of damage in this scenario if they're not able to maybe get a crit and knock out the Duraludon on Zane's side.
Something interesting you could do here is you could go for Phantom Force and try and survive that way. Because Torkoal could, I honestly, knowing Torkoal and knowing Duraludon, I have a feeling that Torkoal could actually pick up the one-hit knockout on Duraludon. Mew2King still has Dynamax available to him as well. I wouldn't actually mind seeing Dynamax Torkoal here. Yeah, so we'll have to see. I mean, this is not over by any means. Also, the other thing is, when you're dealing with a move like Hustle, there's... Oh, interesting. When you're dealing with a move like Hustle, things can always change. But we'll see. Mew2King actually, he doesn't actually have to Dynamax this turn if he thinks he's going to survive. We'll see. He actually goes for... Unfortunately, he chooses the weaker Max Flare. He had 2 Max Flares available to him. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe he wanted to leave... Duraludon on the field, but he actually does choose the 130 base power move instead of the 150 base power move. But we'll see. Do you think Torkoal could take a hit for boosted Duraludon?
No.
I think it could. I think it could take it.
The Torkoal or the Dragapult?
Oh, the Torkoal. The Torkoal.
Oh, the Torkoal? Yeah, I think he can handle it.
Yeah, he can probably take it. He's a big boy. Wormwood comes out into Dragapult. Amazing switch. Dragon Claw comes out. Sorry, not switch. That was an amazing play by Mew2King. He dodges both dragon attacks and goes for Max Flare into the Duraludon. And unfortunately, because he chooses the weaker of the 2 attacks, he does not get the KO. However, that actually might work in his favor here because now he gets to take... like, for example, if Togekiss came in, then he would have to take, like, a Yawn. But because he actually did not use the... Like, because he chose the weaker move... he actually has a chance to KO Duraludon without, like, taking a hit from that slot. So he only has to take 1 attack this turn. And Duraludon can't do that much about it. Now, this turn, I feel like he maybe should have used the stronger of the 2 moves. But he actually switches Dracozolt out into Passimian. This is not over. This is not over at all, Justin. Duraludon goes for Protect. Maybe he's reading Phantom Force into the other slot. However, I believe Phantom Force is actually into the Duraludon. And you can't protect against that move. That's one of the fun things about Phantom Force. Kind of a niche thing there. This is not over by any means.
Those are excellent plays from Mew2King, and Zain actually kind of looked, stepping back in the wrong position, going into the corner and getting cornered here. He's going to lose his Passimian to this attack.
Yeah, he doesn't have much. Passimian doesn't have much juice left in the tank, and it's not over. He does have Togekiss now, and Togekiss is a Pokemon that's not terrible to have here, but you really need a way around the Torkoal, and Torkoal is just doing so much damage right now.
Did you see the mark? The well-trained?
I did see the mark, of course, yeah. That means it was EV trained fully at one point. So what looked like a bad position for Mew2King, I'm going to be honest, I thought this one was over. When Mew2King lost both his Pokemon and there was +2 Duraludon on the field. But using that Phantom Force to dodge hits was so good from Mew2King's end. And it's really brought him back into this game because now it's Zain who doesn't have Dynamax available and he still has a turn left. And I don't think any of these Pokemon have Protect unless I'm much mistaken. Let's see what happens. Dragapult uses Steel Wing into Passimian. I think it could survive. Nope, never mind. Passimian goes down. Maybe it's Life Orb. That would make some sense. It is Life Orb Dragapult. I guess we saw that already. And then Yawn comes out into Torkoal. So this is not over. We do know that the last Pokemon is... Wait, who's the last Pokemon, Justin?
Dracozolt.
Dracozolt, which Dracozolt does not have Protect. This is going to be close. This is going to be really close. I think actually Mew2King might win this one. Because of the spread moves of Torkoal and the fact that none of Zane's Pokemon have Protect on them. So even though, of course, like if he were to survive for another turn, he could probably win. I think he's going to take too much. I think a lot depends on this turn, is what I should say. Is Mew2King going to go for Dragon Claw or is he going to go for Phantom Force? There's a weird mind game going on here. And it's really, I mean, if you're Mew2King, it's a tough decision, right? Also, I have a feeling Bolt Beak will actually KO. I feel like Bolt Beak will actually KO Torkoal, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not positive on that. Also, Hustle can miss.
Volbeak should actually KO the Torkoal, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it will, yeah, based on how much it does to Bronzong. Yeah. And with the strong spread moves of Heat Wave and Eruption, Heat Wave is probably the better option here if I had to guess. He goes for Heat Wave and actually an interesting play of Dragon Dance. So, I don't totally agree with that one. We don't see Follow Me, so Dragon Claw probably would have won him the game, but we'll have to see what happens here. Dragon Claw comes out. It does connect. That is the end of Dragapult. Mew2King needs to win this game this turn with the Heat Wave, or else it's probably going to be over. because he's gonna fall asleep at that point. Dazzling Gleam comes out, weakening Interruption, but he didn't go for Eruption. He went for Heat Wave. It doesn't do that much damage. How much is Heat Wave gonna do to Dracozolt? Heat Wave comes out, hits both Pokemon. That'll be the end of Togekiss. How much does it do to Dracozolt? Does it get the burn? No burn, and Torkoal is now asleep.
You know, it's gonna come down to hustle misses.
He needs 2 hustle misses and a 1-turn sleep. That's what Mew2King needs to win this. Dracozolt can get the KO here. He goes for Bolt Beak. It connects, and that's going to be game 1 for Zain. Bolt Beak is ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, and those are the situations where, you know, you don't... There's no real right play. I mean, even though you could think, like, maybe Dragon Clawing would be exactly correct.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, maybe going for a Phantom Force, you can't really prevent the Dracozolt from knocking out your Torkoal in that situation because of follow me pressure. So
it was a weird one.
I don't think Mew2King. Yeah, I don't think Mew2King really misplayed necessarily. I think that he may have been trying to capitalize on a possible hustle miss or something like that because he was kind of in a worse position than Zain was.
You know what? I think actually we know Sajin's team pretty well, you and I, so we knew that Togekiss and Dracozolt didn't have Protect. But from Mew2King's side, he's probably thinking, why would he not protect here, right? Like, he could easily protect my Torkoal will fall asleep, so I'll take this turn to go for Dragon Dance and maybe make him panic, you know?
Yeah.
It just didn't work because I don't think that that team actually has Protect on it, so that's why. But I don't think it was a... Like, I think an attack would have been safer or maybe a Phantom Force, but I understand why he made the play that he did. We're privileged because we have the information, you know?
Yeah. What do you think that Zain needs to do to close this out more so than... I feel like Mew2King did have the ball in his court, and not getting Trick Room up ended up working out a little bit against him towards the end. Torkoal could have done a lot more work if it had the speed advantage.
I think Zain needs to find a way through this Trick Room. I like... Duraludon is really, really good. And then, you know what? The funny thing is that this is really similar to how the World Champion Invitational ended. It was a hard Trick Room team, and it was a hard Trick Room team versus a Sajin's team, which is what Zain is using. So, yeah, the Keyberry or the Culverberry Bronzong makes things really tricky here because he can set Trick Room, and there's nothing at all that Zain can do to stop it. So how does he capitalize on those Trick Room turns? You know, sure, he can use Follow Me with Togekiss, and you know, Dynamax is Duraludon, but yeah, I don't know. I think that Zain really has to find a way through this Trick Room and cannot let Mew2King start getting momentum with Trick Room. The other thing is that Duraludon is so frail on the special side that even in my opinion, Eruption with Specs Torkoal has a pretty good chance to just straight up one-hit KO the Duraludon even after Dynamax. So, yeah. I think actually if you're Zain here, what you want to do is you want to max Darkness into the Bronzong, and you want to use Yawn into the Indeedee slot, because that way you don't let Rhyperior or Torkoal get in for free.
You know, I would have said go for the attack into the Indeedee, and then
and Yawn the yeah,
and proc the eject button, and then Yawn that slot.
Yeah, I guess Steel Spike or Dragon would have been pretty good there too.
I think that specifically knowing that the Bronzong from last game is Culverberry, it just means that there's a little bit less room to immediately use Duraludon. I really would have liked to see Zain maybe preserve a later game Duraludon, because the threat of Trick Room and Torkoal coming in are a little bit more scary than you know, Zain is scaring Mew2King with his Duraludon when it's max, because you know, even though it is very bulky, it doesn't have a very good special defense stat, and Torkoal will smack it up.
Yeah. Although I actually really like this play from Zain, because without Dynamax in there, he doesn't 2-hit KO Bronzong. Now he can actually pin Mew2King, and he can max Darkness this turn into Bronzong for like the KO, and he can Yawn into the Indeedee slot. Meaning, if Bronzong wants to go for Bulldoze and activate, you know, and switch into Rhyperior, for example, like Hard Switch, now Rhyperior is asleep, and if it doesn't do that, then you know if Rhyperior doesn't switch and then Indeedee falls asleep and Bronzong goes down, it's kind of a pin. And you also drop the special defense, which is good, especially when you have Togekiss still alive. So, yeah, I don't know exactly. I feel like if you're Mew2King, you're kind of got to be worried here. I think not activating the eject button there was a really good play from Zain's end. I think if he went for Dazzling Gleam or something, it would have been really, really bad.
now it's just gonna be making the most of your max turns. Which Pokemon do you want to get that max darkness off into?
I think you'd probably go for
Also,
Bronzong, right?
yeah, I would definitely want to get rid of the Bronzong, but you have to be wary of that ally switch. Is what I was going to say.
Sorry.
And the problem, well, I mean, you have Stalwart too, so you actually can ignore it. So never mind, leave me alone.
Oh.
Psychic going to be able to go into that Togekiss, get the flamethrower off into that DDD.
That was yeah, that was actually a really, really good ally switch. At first, I was like lol M2K, like what are you doing? But like M2K realized that Zain would never willingly target his Indeedee activating the eject button, so instead, no. Oh, okay, no. So instead, this position that looked like frankly looked over, in my opinion. I felt like this game was more or less over for from Zane's end. I felt like he had pretty safe plays. That ally switch actually saves him there, and I have a feeling that Zane doesn't realize that ally switch, like that stalwart Duraludon's ability ignores ally switch. So this is not over by any means. If you're Mew2King this turn, do you make the read and you go after the Togekiss, or do you and go after the Duraludon, or do you play it safe and go for the Rockfall into or do you play risky and go for the Max Quake into the Duraludon? Also, keep in mind you cannot use Weakness Policy to activate. You cannot use Bulldoze to activate Rhyperior's Weakness Policy without also activating Duraludon's Weakness Policy, which makes this very, 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 very interesting.
Yeah, I really like that positioning from Zain. I feel like that was actually might be intentional. I do think straightforwardly you do go take the Togekiss in this situation. That gives Zain the ability to possibly make a defensive switch, but actually going for the follow me right away, which is smart, redirecting a possible body press into Rhyperior, covering for that option. But Mew2King just YOLOs it and gives the Duraludon the Bulldoze, and both the things are getting procced here. Possibly could see an Earthquake so that you don't need to max, or is it high horsepower?
I think it is. I had the same thought, but then I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, it's just
Never
high
mind.
horsepower. Seijun is in chat. He says it goes Zain. So Seijun's rooting for his own team here. Let's see what he goes for. He needs to get rid of the Rhyperior this turn. He goes for Steel Spike into the Rhyperior. That is the end of Rhyperior. He's now +2 defense. The one thing is that, yes, did Torkoal go down, or did Rhyperior go down? Yes. Like, is Indeedee not looking great? Is Bronzong no health? Yes. But you have Torkoal, and Torkoal is so strong here. And like, I don't know how well Seijun's team likes taking eruptions, and I know for a fact that Duraludon is not surviving an eruption. And you still have a couple turns of Trick Room left, don't you? I think you still have 2 turns left.
Yeah, that wasn't honestly a terrible turn. I mean, being able to get the Torkoal in under Trick Room, and to start spamming Eruption. He didn't even max yet, so he has the access to max Flare. And honestly, if he gets the Duraludon and the Dracozolt out of there, you could even possibly set up a second Trick Room. I really do like the way that Zain has been playing, and while Mew2King may have been opting for the Torkoal option instead, it's going to be on Zain to prepare for the ability for Eruption to just do ridiculous amounts of damage. And Bronzong staying out really is great because he can, if he KOs the Duraludon, he doesn't have to worry about reading the ally switch.
Absolutely, yeah. So Torkoal's actually Dynamaxing here. I feel like if you're Mew2King, you might not know if Eruption, how much damage Eruption will do to Dracozolt, so you figure, why not play it safe, right? Like, why risk taking too much damage? I can become super bulky. I can always Heat Wave later, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see Duraludon go for Protect here. Okay, how much do you think this does through Protect? Because I bet it does a lot of damage. Max Flare comes out. This is through Protect, so it does 1/4 the damage it would have done otherwise. Does about half of the remaining health. Body Press comes out as well, but a good Protect from Zain. This tells us that maybe Earthquake is coming out. Bolt Beak actually. So Bolt Beak can hit Torkoal. Does a good chunk of damage, but Torkoal's still sitting pretty. I think this is now the last turn of Trick Room, or maybe I've miscounted. Maybe there's one more after this.
Well, I really like that he went for the Max Flare into the Duraludon, because even though protected, it still possibly could go down to a body press from the Bronzong, and now he could eliminate both Pokemon on the field. I actually really like M2K's positioning.
Yeah. And I really like that he died. At first, I was like, maybe Eruption is better, but I actually really like that I feel like he used Dynamax there instead of offensively. He actually used it defensively to make sure that he didn't have to predict as much, right? Like, he could just go for the move that would double his health, so that even if things went poorly, he would still be in an okay position. Body Press coming out here. We do have to consider Dracozolt can miss. Every one of these attacks it's using has an 80% accurate move, and actually, speak of the devil, It does miss. So I kind of feel like that Bolt Beak miss might have been better for Zain, even though he was the one who missed, because you really don't want a DD coming in this position. But it all depends on what the last Pokemon is. It's Passimian again. Okay. What do you think of this position, Justin?
Well, Passimian having access to Assault Vest really important. Going to be able to actually tank attacks from that Torkoal instead of just getting deleted. Trick Room ending that turn, right?
Mm-hmm. Trick Room is over, so we're now out of Trick Room.
Means that there's nothing really stopping the Dracozolt from getting the KO on the Bronzong and the Passimian from getting damage down onto that Torkoal. I think that the Assault Vest is going to be a major player here. Knowing that it's choice specs Torkoal, Zain might also opt to just take the damage into the Torkoal, maybe try and knock it out this turn.
Yeah.
We see the Bolt Beak going first, directly into the Bronzong to prevent the Trick Room. We'll see if that ends up working out for him. The Passimian is going to be going next with Assault Vest, not going to have a boosting item. I'm going to go for knockoff. Get the choice specs out of there. When you are Dynamax, you do not get the boost from choice items.
I actually really like that he went for knockoff there.
Right,
yeah, I really like that he went for knockoff there, because if he went for close combat, he would have been knocked out by the recoil. Which is actually a big deal, because if Passimian goes down there, it's a 2 versus 1. Close combat's not doing that much damage, and or it's doing more damage, of course, than knockoff, but not enough that you could justify it. But now Zain is in a good position because he has both his Pokemon remaining. So this is really going to come down to Torkoal. It's going to be can Indeedee, or I guess like can Dracozolt hit its attacks, and how bulky is this Indeedee? We see its max HP. Yeah, Mew2King has to select Heat Wave here, or he will not do enough damage with Eruption. Looks like he is going for Heat Wave, but we'll have to see. And then Psychic or Follow Me. A lot depends on the speed tiers as well here. Dracozolt can KO both Pokemon. Relatively.
He just has to hit it.
He has to hit it. Yeah, that's
just
true.
To hit it. Follow Me Heat Wave, and same thing for Zain. He has to be able to knock out the NDD and then get the Bolt Beak off. Does the Passimian go before the Dracozolt? Because that could actually change everything.
No, the Dracozolt actually moves first, we can see. So this is a question of, is Heat Wave going to hit both, and will it KO Dracozolt? Knockoff comes out again.
After getting the choice specs knocked off, it might not be able to do enough damage.
Yeah, it doesn't do that much damage.
Torkoal
goes for Heat Wave, and it misses! Who did it miss? Dracozolt survives. Okay, so the miss doesn't really matter there. Well, I guess we'll see if Dracozolt misses this turn. That was an unfortunate miss, because it meant that Mew2King could not win off of a miss. But it actually doesn't matter, because Dracozolt connects, and even though Dracozolt will go down here, if you get KO'd to your own Life Orb recoil, then you do win the game. So because Mew2King because Zain was KO'd by his own Life Orb recoil, the Passimian miss didn't really matter, but it feels worse. Absolutely. So
yeah, I do think Zain played that beautifully. That knockoff really well. Actually ended up being really pivotal. Instead of just going for the outright damage immediately, you got the choice specs up for the late game. It's actually some really big brain plays. I'm really impressed by that stuff. I do want to give a nod to Jason. He did an excellent job towards the end of there, being able to prevent the Indeedee from getting knocked out initially, then having it for the late game. Torkoal actually was really smart positioning. And I don't really feel like he made too many misplays. Maybe getting rid of the Dracozolt earlier might have helped. The one turn that I mentioned where he could have gone for the Dracozolt and body pressed the Duraludon, it's the only real turn I feel like he may have wanted to opt for that type of play instead. But still, excellent job. Getting knocked out early. There's no shame in that. He's learning Pokemon. Yeah. He did a great job.
Yeah. I really like his play. I think overall, if you're Mew2King, like, of course, it was close, right? You had a lot of really good games. I think both of his losses could have gone either way. They both felt really close. So, I don't know. I feel like although it's frustrating to go down probably earlier than he would have liked, he still put on a really good show, and we're really grateful to him for being here.
Yeah.